Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. You are tuned into the Sajdah channel, and I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. And today we're going to be talking about the power of silence. So be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer. See you in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
Assalamu alaikum, family. We're back and you're tuned into the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. I am your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. Thank you all for checking out all the replays that we've been doing this last week or so. I have so much content and I figure, why not share it? So you'll be able to tune in here just about every day and check out something new, something that's old, may not be old to you, may have been recorded a while ago. Y'all know what I'm saying. We got some really, I've been working. If you ain't seen me, it's because I have been working. Some things I'm not going to announce yet. But what I am going to announce, we are going to be having a screening of one of the episodes of The Messenger's Residence called The Messenger's Footsteps. I'm just trying to figure out a date, okay? I just got the budget and stuff together. Now I'm working on a date. And guess what, y'all? The new book is done. So I am doing some final formatting tweaks and deciding on a cover. And then it'll be out to you very, very soon. And we want to do some fun, rollout of that as well. But in the meantime, in between time, man, okay, I can't tell y'all everything. We're gonna save it. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the power of silence. You know what I'm talking about? Silence. I know that's a foreign word to a lot of us. When I was a little girl, when I was a child, my grandmother, my grandmother had always had these funny sayings. And for some reason, us as grandchildren were just silly. And we would laugh about everything. And so when she'd say one of her little funny sayings, we'd just be giggling and laughing. Sometimes she'd swing the belt on us because we'd be laughing too much in the middle of the night. Like, I remember I would sleep in the front bedroom and my brother and my cousins and them, the boys would be like down the hall and we would be giggling down the hall and laughing and telling jokes. So when she said something that probably made a lot of sense, we probably in our silliness didn't really listen. Okay. But she had this thing, and y'all heard me talk about this. It was just get somewhere and sit down. If your stomach hurt, get somewhere and sit down. And I mean, your stomach could really be hurting. Okay. I'm a person who suffer from allergies, still do, not as bad as I used to, but I'm very sensitive to food and, seafood, all kind of stuff. And I'd be feeling like something's about to come on. And she said, well, just get somewhere and sit down. I remember somebody hurt my feelings at school and I came and told her and she said, get somewhere and sit down. Look, we could have a tornado watch or a tornado warning. And you see us all just sitting up in chairs in the living room. She said, get somewhere and sit down. Okay. If it was really bad, she'd tell you to get some water and get somewhere and sit down. But those two things were her antidote to everything. And she had these little Dixie cups. You'd be sitting there in the chair with your Dixie cup, sipping on your water. Because no matter what was wrong, it was like she felt like really if you just got somewhere and sit down, it would be okay. Okay. And I thought it was just old country Creole stuff, But now I know She was a strategist. She understood the power of stillness, the wisdom of just taking a pause, the truth that not every problem, right, needs an immediate reaction. And a lot of times during the middle of the day, I do this often. I'll just say, let me give me a cup of tea and I'll just sit silently. That's might be my meditation time, might be like right after prayer. Just sit down. Right? See, because silence, especially in this world today, and I had to learn this because I'm old enough to have transitioned into this world. I wasn't born into this social media world, right? But you got all these copycats out here, right? People who hear what you're doing and then they run and go do it, or they run and try to figure out how to sabotage. Sometimes you think that they're trying to sabotage, but really what it is that they're so non-creative and so unintelligent. And I say unintelligent loosely because what I mean is that they're just not thinking. That only thing they can think to do is what they see you doing. So when you decide, okay, I got to be silent for a minute, it can mess those people up a little bit. All right. I was listening to comedian Godfrey. I really like Godfrey's one of my favorite comedians. My favorite comedians, let's see, what is my Mount Rushmore? I would go with Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, Godfrey. If I have to go old school, I got to go Paul Mooney. I like Richard Pryor, but I like the Paul Mooney. I like the comedians that keep it real, but help you to laugh out of stuff that's real, probably because that aligns with my personality. And one of my former business partners, Dr. Dorma, will tell you, we literally would laugh about everything. Even to this day, you know, if we are, either one of us is feeling some kind of way or having a day, we'll call each other and just laugh about something that happened. Now, most people would probably cry over. That's probably why I like it. But anyway, so Godfrey was talking about joke thieves and how comedians would sit back in the club, hear something good, and then the next night they're performing it as if they wrote it. It's the same in business. People will sit in your meetings, they'll nod politely, and then run off and mimic your ideas. People will see what you're doing and go, oh, I want to do that. Some people attach themselves to you, not because they believe in you, but because they want to siphon off your shine. So you got to know how to reveal your moves and stages. You got to have that person or those people that you can just really be transparent with. Like, that's your person. You can talk. You can lay it on the line. Because, look, let's face it. As entrepreneurs, we have good days and bad days. Some days it's like you feel like everything's hitting you all at once. And then you have some days where it's smooth and you're riding on a high vibration. And so you want to have people that you can talk to in any of those stages, and then make yourself available to support others. That's my life mission, is to see people win and to help people win. And you're going to see with this new book and some of the rollout that's going to happen around it. And God willing, we will be on every one of your popular podcasts, all of that, with the new book. So we just, we're on the road to getting finished. And I'm going to roll out for you guys. I mentioned this already, the first episode of The Messenger's Residence. But anyway, revealing your moves and stages. You know, there's a tendency to just want to come out and talk to social media and say everything. Don't announce things before they're secure. And some things you don't need to announce at all. I'm listening to these different radio stations and they're saying, well, so-and-so broke up and they were engaged and this happened. Why does your stuff have to be out there in the public? See, In this world of social media where people are posting everything, even if I go to events, let me tell you something, sisters, stop posting in real time. Because now a person knows where you are. You may have predators watching your page. You got people faking that they want to talk to you, and they just doing it so they can find out where you are. They break in your house. You just sabotage your moves. Tone it down, y'all. Everybody don't need to know everything. Okay? And sometimes you got to get that money quietly. Here's the thing. Many of us grew up broke. And that came with a certain amount of shame. And there's a certain amount of stress associated with not having the money that you need just to live. Okay, there's a certain amount of stress that comes with that. And what happens to us is then when we finally start making money, the first instinct is to prove it, to show it, to say, hey, I ain't that person I used to be, or to find a way to think that somehow now just slinging your money around and telling everybody is going to ease some of that pain. So we post that vacation and we talk about it. We post the new car, the new designer bag. We think we're celebrating, but what we're really doing is just signaling. Signaling what? Signaling how amateur and immature we are. And I don't mean that as an insult, because we can be older and be immature. How immature we are when it comes to that thing we are so insecure about. Could be attention. It could be finally getting that shine that you feel like you deserve. It could be your insecurities around money. Okay. And then these signals is what attracts these vultures. We talked about the pimps. You got the slow pimps. You got the real pimps. You got the po pimps. These people who are going to now say, oh, he's signaling. So let me now come around and see what I can get. You got gaslighters. Those of us that are single, you got men that come around and immediately just start asking for money. Okay. You got people pitching these, get rich quick schemes to you. Strangers watching you closely to take an advantage. I know you're like, wow, this is a crazy world. It is. And guess what? That quiet money lasts longer. Real wealth moves in silence. Public attention brings public problems. Same thing with your relationship. You can be in a whole beautiful, amazing relationships, and it don't have to be social media posted. And listen, some of us that like to talk, I'm one of those kind of persons. I go in waves. There's times where I just really love to share a great conversation because I see it as an energy exchange. And then there are times where I'm like, don't want to talk. So silence doesn't mean that you never speak. It means you master when to speak. Let me say that again. Silence does not mean that you never speak. It simply means that you master when to speak. Okay? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to think 5 times before we speak. And I try to practice that. And then especially now being in preservation, I'm saying, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Let me make sure I'm not adding, make sure I'm not subtracting. You want to be that walking truth signal, and being silent gives you an opportunity to do that. Why? Because it gives you an opportunity to work through your own emotions in a situation. You just take a pause, take a beat, as they say in acting. Just take a beat. Sometimes you got to pray on something. Sometimes you got to meditate on it. I told somebody the other day, I said, I'm looking for somebody to help me format my book. And they said, are you looking here? You looking? I said, well, you know what? Right now I'm praying on it. They're like, what does that mean? It means that I'm just making sure that I'm done. And in that prayer moment, I ended up coming up with another chapter, bang that out in 3 or 4 days. And then I said, okay, that was what was telling me to wait. So you got to kind of slow it down, get silent so you can hear the cues that are outside of social media. Okay. In a negotiation, if you're negotiating something, ask your questions and then be quiet. Most people can't stand silence. So they start talking. And sometimes they give away their position without even realizing it. See, skilled listeners like me, I'm one of these persons. I'm what you call, well, I don't know if this is a word for it. I'm very audio. So I can hear vibrations in voices. I'm really keen on picking up patterns. And so when a person is talking, I'm one of those persons you can't really trick. Now watch all the people start trying to trick me. But then I'm not as judgmental when I pick up that you are trying to trick me. Does that make sense? Anyway, if you have a client, a customer, that you're disputing, that's disputing a charge, sometimes you just being quiet can prevent it from being escalated. Let them talk. Then you can figure out your strategy and you can respond with precision instead of emotion. If you run a company and somebody's like, let me speak to the manager, then when you get to the phone, just listen. Mystery is valuable. If people can't figure you out completely, they'll respect and even fear the unknown. My grandmother used to say that too. It's always best to be a mystery. I don't know that I totally agree with that. I don't agree with the always word in there. There are times when you need to be familiar, because if you're always a mystery, then people feel uncomfortable with you and don't feel like you're reliable. So in business, you don't always want to be a mystery, right? You want to have strategic times in your business development, in developing your business, okay, where you are a business. Strategic times. Put any questions about this in the chat if you guys want to go deeper into this. I want to touch the surface on this just to raise our awareness. Y'all know how I am. I'm all about let's just raise that awareness. Because silence can be your medicine. And it's a tool. Somebody asked me, they said, what is one of your tools that you would say would be a tool for success? And I have a couple. I definitely have a very interpersonal relationship with Allah. We always talk and we partners. I'm very consistent. I'm very studious. I study every day. But I think most importantly, I use the power of silence. So I take time throughout the day to quiet my mind. And this is in addition to prayer, because oftentimes when we're praying, we're talking, right? We're saying the prayer. We're talking in our mind to ourselves about what we want as a result of the prayer and blah, 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 blah. But there's rarely when we're just really silent. We're surrounded by noise, notifications on our phone, news alerts, constant chatter. And that silence will reset and recalibrate your nervous system. It'll lower your stress. It'll boost your focus. It'll spark your creativity. You'll even see it in your body habitus. If you find yourself dealing with a little inflammation, maybe you get a little bloated or you feeling a little puffy, take a minute and just be silent. Start to incorporate some silence over the next day or so, more than what you normally would, and you'll see that inflammation start to relax a little bit. Some of my best ideas did not come when I was talking. They came when I was quiet. And let me say this. See, because silence is also your safety. For us as entrepreneurs, especially Black entrepreneurs, we have to be very mindful of security. Most of the time, when you work, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. When you're working a job, and the job isn't a high-powered job, like, where, somebody could be threatened by your job, you tend to run your mouth a lot. You tend to be the person that's constantly talking and saying everything because your conversation, you're searching. You're searching for validation. You're searching for information. But as an entrepreneur, it's easy to be a target. You have to be very mindful of your security. Before events, you need to consider doing a bag check or weapon screenings if you have events on your property. A lot of us now, especially in Chicago, we're getting that perfect weather. We're having rooftop gatherings and garden gatherings. Consider doing a bag check or saying no large bags or weapon screening. Walk each other to your cars late at night. Stop being so casual and cavalier with everybody. People leave, okay, see you later. Even if it's a sister, see each other. If two sisters, you all are out, it gets a little dark, see each other to the car. Hey, what we do, me and my friends say, hey, where'd you park? Oh, I parked down the street. Okay, we'll give you a ride over there real quick. Or if it's a group of us, okay, we'll walk you to your car. Look out for each other's physical safety, not just the financial safety. Physical safety. Let's pay attention to that. We have to be mindful. Let me say this. I was watching a podcast. There was a gentleman in law enforcement that was giving safety tips for women. And he said, look, sisters, he said, there is nothing meaningful that happens outside at night. And I was like, wow. And so people were asking questions, and I had this question because I've had jobs where I got off late, or I remember in college, I had 2 jobs, and my second job, I'd get off at 10 p.m. and it'd be dark in Iowa at 10 p.m. So I had a little box cutter I used to keep in one hand and some mace in another hand. And I remember my little car broke down and I had to walk to my apartment on campus. And it, it was scary. I had to learn how to, in some cases, walk in the street and but I don't think it's necessary for us to be running around like that at night. When we worked for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he always taught us to be in by 10 p.m. Don't be trying to get gas at 10 p.m. Don't be running around. Some of us like to kick it and party. Listen, get on home and get in the house. You have no reason to be out at 1 o'clock in the morning, midnight, unless you're getting off work, unless had, and if you do, let's just say this, okay? Because we don't live in a perfect world. If you do, let's say you're at your friend's house and y'all having a good time and you look up, oh, shoot, it's 10:30, it's 11, it's late. Then go straight home. Text somebody when you get home. Or if there's a male presence, if you can call your husband, your brother, somebody to trail you or to ride with you or to just be at the door when you get there. When you get to your house, you should be making 3 consecutive turns around your house before you just pull in. But Lamont said, I'm a man and I'm in by 10 p.m. unless it's work related. Yeah, we have to stop playing with this devil. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Stop playing and get on in. There's a lot of things you can still enjoy yourself. You can still have fun. But here's where we get the challenge, especially in the Midwest. Well, all over, in the wintertime, it starts to get dark, right? Around 5 p.m. And from that period of like 5 to 10:30, you still are going to have the hustle and bustle of people out, but after that, get on in and sit down somewhere. You don't need to go to the grocery store at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. We have to accept in this country, and I said this, I have to ask, I may have said this before the pandemic. And any of you who have traveled extensively internationally know what I'm talking about. When you go to some of these countries, there's a big gap between the haves and the have-nots. People who are the have-nots don't even get to come in the haves' houses unless they're doing some kind of work. And the security is oftentimes very tight. When you go to some places in Africa, even in Mexico, in Central America, people have walls around their houses. You know how we have fences and gates? They may have a wall. And the wall has a door with the lock. And then when you come in the house has a lock. And it's because the gap between the haves and the have-nots, the people who eat, and then there's people who don't eat. There's people with money and there's people who don't have money. And in America, we still have this it still reminds me of like the plantation days where it's like, oh, that's Massa's house. Nobody would dare go up there. But in those other places, people raid homes, they steal stuff. You can't leave stuff around. And most of my friends that live in other countries, when we would do social events, let's say we're busy at the office, they're done at someone's house. So people have pool parties or events, dinners at their home. And then when people are leaving late at night, they assign somebody to escort people home. And we're living in that world where when people start to starve and benefits are taken from them, some people are not spiritual like a lot of you all. Some people are not spiritual saying, okay, let me go inside of myself and figure out how I can get some money. Let me get creative. Some people decide, well, I'm going to take it from somebody else. There's a lot of people that's out doing very unsavory things to make money for themselves. And so you just don't want to get caught up in that. But I believe we're moving more towards what you will see in certain parts of Africa with the big wide gap between the haves and the have-nots, where if you have, you better protect yourself. And so even with us as entrepreneurs, we are, and I'm going to cover, there's a lot of this in the book, y'all, where we're really talking about the strategies for entrepreneurship. Like, it's deep. Okay. It's about 30 chapters. And we're going deep into some stuff. I've even got some legislation, some language for legislation that we can begin to present to our local politicians that protect us as entrepreneurs and those of us that are out here doing for self. In the meanwhile, know how to practice the power of silence. I love nice things. We all love nice things. I love nice things so much. I don't even like things with cheap material. You will rarely see me wearing something where the material is super cheap. It's always going to be, if it's cotton, it's going to be a nice grade of cotton. You won't see me ordering these Asian clothes where it's printed on one side and the other side is white because it's just cheap. You see the stitching where there's no real stitching and finishing. It's just like a little slip stitch that they put around the edges of it. But we have to begin to protect those nice things that we like. All right. Any questions about this? I see y'all in the chat. Let me see what's up. Let's see who we got here. This is the power of silence. And tomorrow we're going to talk about confidentiality and understanding confidentiality in business. Again, because some of us just talk too much. And the con artists out here, it is very difficult sometimes to spot them, because people who are really good con artists, they're going to come in your emotional space. They're going to come as if they're providing a service. And when you just got a habit of running your mouth too much, not only are you impacting confidentiality, but you're giving away all your trade secrets as well. Okay, so happy Friday, Mom. Hey, Mom. Who we got? BN's Chris TV. Not expressing your desires, very powerful. Brother Lamont says, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Happy Friday. Sister Betty. Hey, Sister Betty. Happy Friday. Chicago, we love you so much. Okay. I see 83002 has one. Says, assalamu alaikum. Thank you. This is my first time. Very interesting. So 8302 has one. Peruse the channel. We have lots of mental strategies out here, about 4 years worth. Okay. All kind of subjects. So hit that like and subscribe button. Be a friend. Tell a friend. And support the movement. Go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Some of you all tuned in. Thank you. Some of you all tuned in to the webinar we replayed, where we were working to remove poverty consciousness from our DNA. I'm going to put another one out there for next Sunday. It's just a replay. Like I said, we're getting the book out here. And so stay tuned. Like and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to come out. Hopefully by tomorrow, I'll have a date for the screening. And what we're going to do with the screening of the first episode of The Messenger's Residence is it's going to be a live event. So you'll get a chance, if you're in Chicago, to come to the house and watch it with us. We're going to have a panel discussion, but we're also going to live stream it. So you'll be able to, click on, it'll pay a certain amount. Thank you for subscribing. Pay a certain amount. It'll be something nominal, because obviously these events, we got to pay for cameramen and we got to pay for the platform. So none of this stuff is free. So stop thinking that freedom is free. And well, let me say this before. Anyway, we're going to do a live screen where you'll be able to tune in and tap in from wherever you are in the world. Okay. So we'll be live at the Elijah Muhammad house. You'll be able to click into us and watch the discussion, and we'll work on taking questions from you guys, from the audience. So stay tuned for that. That's what I'm working on. That's what's taking so long. We're working on building that. I was going to tell you something else, but I just missed it. Okay. If you all don't have any questions, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're supporting the movement. There's so much we got going on. We're doing some training for workforce development. Listen, it's all about independent economics. We're doing entrepreneurial training. You're going to see more of that rolled out as soon as this new book is coming out. For the holiday seasons coming up, we're going to have new packaging for the Sajdah Oats. So I can't wait to share that with you all. My Chinese supplier hit us with that pass down of the tariffs, and we're like, ooh, got to regroup. And that happens, right? Talk about that in the book, when to pivot, how to pivot, being okay with pivoting. Okay. All right, y'all. So we'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Okay. We're going to talk about confidentiality. And we're going to just dive a little bit deeper into this stuff. In the meanwhile, if you want to become a sponsor for one of the events, for the Elijah Muhammad House, some of the stuff that we have coming up, I'll give you all a hint. We'll be open very soon. Okay. Then you can do that. Just email me, sajdahhouse@gmail.com. If you just want to support, go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Okay. We're going to be also doing a financial literacy mastermind session. It's mainly going to be for the youth. It's a partnership that I'm doing with Sister Aletha's brand, Club Blue Wealth. And so we're going to bring some information to you on that as well. Family, love you all. Thank you. Appreciate you all. And inshallah, we will see you all tomorrow morning. Peace and blessings, family.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive. And it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the